Hey, how's it going, everyone? I've got the TCL ION V or ION 5, whatever you want to call it. Now, this one is really interesting because a couple months ago, I got the BlueView 4 smartphone, and that looked like the best dirt cheap smartphone that you can get from Walmart. But it looks like this is the next contender, or this might be even better than that. So I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit more smooth than that, because that was a little buggy here and there. But nonetheless, I want to take a look at how this is. So it does mention it does have an HD Plus display, a pretty decent battery supposedly, and then an 8 megapixel rear and 5 megapixel front camera, and only 32 gigabytes of internal storage. I can only expect so much at the price point, right? So on the back it mentions a little bit more. It does have a micro SD support for up to 512 gigabytes. All right, so in the box we have the smartphone itself here. So I'm taking out the cover here. Does it come with a screen protector pre-installed? It looks like it does not. It feels very light, but that's because the battery's not in there. And I actually like that it has a removable battery. That's kind of rare to see these days. There's the micro SD card tray, and then there's the SIM all the way down here. So really interesting. Here's the back cover along with a start guide. Start here, user guide. We have the battery, terms and conditions, a USB-C to USB-A cable inside here, along with a wall outlet. Here's some info on the battery. I'm not going to go over everything here. Honestly, this doesn't really add too much weight to it. I thought it was going to be a little bit more. It is kind of a small battery pack, and then here's what it looks like on the back. It has this like textured finish. It's just plastic though, and it looks like I can see the scratch that I made. It can always be rubbed off. What's kind of funny is that the rear camera has this protector while there's no screen protector on here. Actual screen protector. I don't really mind, I guess. It does mention that it's a smart camera, but I doubt it. There's a flash back here, and then nothing else on the back here. On the side, we have the volume keys, power button. Oh, and by the way, the rear camera is not protruding at all, and the front camera is right here on top, next to the speakerphone, a little bit to the left. On the bottom, there's a grill. There's speaker grills, a USB-C port, and then nothing much else on the side here. And then on the top, surprisingly, maybe not too surprising, but we do have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, along with either a microphone or reset button here. It's not too bad in my hand. It doesn't feel too thick or heavy. The bezels seem pretty nice, or they might be thick for today's standard, but it's really not that bad for me. I'm able to get my thumb across all the way, and I've got relatively small hands. But the bezels down here on the bottom and top are definitely a bit thicker and noticeably. Out of the box, it's not that bad. The screen is a little bit brighter in person than on video, but it doesn't get that bright. And then out of the box, there is about, and it's not too pixelated either. Out of the box, there's just about 16, 17 gigs free. So really not that much, but it is nice to have that micro SD card for expansion if need be. And then it does come with a lot of pre-installed apps like Block Blast, Chrome, Chime, and other things. And then some games down here that are kind of preloaded. So I think that's kind of nice because I know some people who aren't tech savvy that end up with these phones, and they probably don't even know how to download games or know what's a good game. So it's great to have these down here. These apps can be uninstalled if need be. And by the way, like old school RuneScape and Netflix, like some of these apps I already downloaded. What I showed before was a screenshot of what came out of the box, just to clarify. But even the pre-installed ones, like Blockbuster or Block Blast, can be uninstalled if you want to. Right, here's the front camera, and I want to say it's a little bit better than some tablets. Nothing too impressive, but it's not terrible either. And then this one looks like it came out a little better than expected. That's not bad at all. So the rear camera is surprisingly decent.
Quick start guide, a pin to get to the micro SD
So the
card
speakers
slot.
are pretty tinny. I wasn't really expecting much anyways to begin with. And videos can be scaled all the way up to 4K here, but I wouldn't recommend it because it does get kind of slow and choppy here and there. I think I could still play this down here, but it does lag a bit more. So I do have to close that, unfortunately. Here's the shocking thing. This has wideband security level of L1. That means you can watch videos at Full HD 1080p or 720p on streaming platforms like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, etc. That's a shocker because most of these low-end devices can't even support that. It's normally going to be capped at 480p. For a small screen like this, may not make much of a difference or matter, but it's definitely nice to have. And then the specs seem to be a little bit better, I guess, compared to the BlueView 4, to be more specific, because the BlueView 4 is about the same price as this, but it had a wide-find security level of L3, so videos were capped at 480p there. And this one has a MT6762 processor with the PowerVR Rogue of GE8320. And that was just a little bit lower, I want to say, if I remember correctly. I still want to see how performance is in terms of gaming or whatever it could be. But just going through everything else, I don't want an ad to pop up here. Hopefully it doesn't. Here's everything else. The one thing I do notice is trying to load up stuff. It takes quite some time. This took, I want to say, like 20 to 30 seconds about. Oh, and by the way, basic tasks are okay. I did notice a lot of lag in the beginning when I was first opening this up. And then going to Google here, it does lag a little bit more, as you can tell. It's definitely smoother than the BlueView 4 smartphone. I'm going to try to stop mentioning that one every other second. The only reason I keep bringing that up is because these two are the same price and they're both sold at Walmart. First game here is Roblox. And it is kind of lagging here and there. It seems like it might just barely be playable, but I'm not 100% sure because in fighting games, when there's frame rate drops, it's going to affect the performance. And as I can tell here, I can see clearly that there are quite a few frame rate drops. So definitely a bad sign if Roblox isn't really playable, but can only expect so much. I want to check out and see how old school RuneScape works here, and it seems to be working just fine, surprisingly. Performance is surprisingly smooth as well. Just from anything I do, I can zoom in. And there might be a few hiccups here and there, but it's still playable. This is a pretty old game. So low-end games will work, I would say, pretty fine. I wanted to check out one of their pre-downloaded games just to see how it performs. Here it seems to be working pretty smooth overall. So I think this is a good prepaid phone for what it's worth. There are some noticeable stutters here and there, especially going to the Google side of things. But this is still usable. It's not terrible. And then going to that widget there, it just lagged for a moment. But yeah, everything else works just fine. I'd say you won't really have too much problem browsing the web. To my right hand, I've got the BlueView 4 smartphone. So these are both going for $40 at Walmart. And they're both locked, unfortunately, so that's one thing. But if you are looking for a locked prepaid smartphone, these are one of the two options. If you do want to see a comparison video between the two, let me know in the comments down below. I'd definitely be willing to make one if people are interested. But yeah, let me know what you guys think.